the threat of apocalypse has shifted to environmentalism. So you get the day after tomorrow, which sort of there's a reference in the titles there, isn't there, in terms of what could happen, or the focus of what happens after a particular event. So in these cases, it's usually an environmental catastrophe. And interestingly, it's very often configured through a tidal wave. So there's a number of films in which environmental catastrophe is created through the oceans. So there's an interesting focus on what we're doing to that particular space in terms of apocalyptic images within media. So yeah, so I think it's quite possible that we will have a return to maybe some of these narratives that consider that nuclear destruction isn't just something from a particular time period. It isn't just something that's just been culturally forgotten.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, you mentioned climate change, and certainly we see significant anxieties around climate change today that bear a strong resemblance to those around nuclear weapons in the early 1980s. And so in both cases, we have fears of the destruction of humankind, of the planet, and which is really mobilizing millions of citizens to take action, and citizens who aren't necessarily normally sort of very politically engaged in the way that we might normally think of it, but over this issue, they are mobilized. And so it is something that people, I think, are quite responsive to, and in turn are putting a lot of pressure on policymakers to equally act upon.